Hey guys, it's Simeon. This is Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 25th of April, 2021 to talk about everything that went down tonight at Impact Wrestling's Rebellion pay-per-view. In my opinion, I thought the show was really fun. Just about everything was good. Was actually really good to great. That's the wrong term. I was going to say I had enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the show. Wrong use of words there, but I enjoyed the show. Overall, I thought everything was good. Most of it was really good to great. So what did you guys think? Let's throw the polls up as we let some more of you jump into the live chat here. What did you think of tonight's Impact Wrestling Rebellion? What did you think of Impact Rebellion? It. All right. Poll is live on Twitch. Let's throw the same poll up on YouTube. I liked it. It was all right. And the last one, I didn't like it. All right, the poll is live on YouTube as well now. So go up to the top of the chat on either both YouTube or Twitch and vote on what you thought of tonight's Impact Wrestling pay-per-view Rebellion. Remember, if you are watching here on Twitch, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, you can help us out a couple of different ways, either by hitting that donate button right down below or donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember that you can help us out by subscribing to the channel here on Twitch one of two different ways. You can subscribe just like Rosario9248 just did with a tier 1 subscription for their second month. Thank you for that one, Rosario, for your second month at tier 1. Or if you say, I don't really have the extra money, I don't got the $5, but I've got Amazon Prime. You know what Amazon Prime gives you? Amazon Prime gives you Prime Gaming. With Prime Gaming, you, get a couple of different things. You get access to free games some months. You get to get in-game purchases for free. But the coolest thing that Amazon Prime gives you with Prime Gaming is one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to support throughout the month. And I greatly appreciate it if you use that one Twitch subscription on us right here, PW Unlimited. All you got to do is link your Twitch account to your Amazon account. Bada bing, bada boom, you're all done. But on the flip side, if you're watching over on YouTube, you can help us out a couple of different ways as well. If you're watching right now in the live chat, you can help us with a super chat or a super sticker donation. All super chat donations do get read live on the air. Also, remember to sign up and subscribe as a channel member. As a channel member, you get early access to podcasts, early access to non-news videos, and early access to exclusive news. Plus, if you say, yeah, I don't want to subscribe on YouTube, though, how can I still get all that stuff? Well, you can do so at patreon.com/PW Unlimited, just like some guy named Sean recently did. He subscribed at tier 2 on our Patreon to help us out there. Helping us out and subscribing on Patreon does directly help us here at Pro Wrestling Unlimited. But with that, we've got Impact Wrestling to talk about. We've got Rebellion to talk about. And this match, or this show itself, started off with a banger. It started off with a triple threat. The X Division Championship. This match was super, super fun. Excuse me there. Never getting rid of this cough. Never, ever, ever. Also, remember, if you want to be part of the show, you can do so by texting into 510-906-1341. Number is in the live chat. But with that, we started off with the X Division title match. Ace Austin defending against both Josh Alexander and TJP. This match, God, did I have early TNA vibes, early X Division vibes. This match was just so great. It's you've got two guys in here that are what the X Division is, or at least what you think the X Division is supposed to be. high-flying, cruiserweight style guys. But then, because the X Division isn't about weight limits, it's about no limits, you throw some rando in there. I'm not saying Josh Alexander's a rando, but you throw some guy in there that doesn't fit the mold, and he kills it. And that's what Josh Alexander did tonight. So the match had a lot of very fast-paced action right off the get-go. All three guys tried to do some big moves early. The nature of the wrestling here saw Alexander go for some submissions early on and a lot of technical slam stuff. TJP tried to do some submission work as well, but he was more of high-flying in this match. All men got good near falls in towards the end of the match. Ace Austin first hit the fold on TJP, but Alexander cut him off. Alexander got a huge near fall after hitting divine intervention on TJP, only to get stopped by Austin. TJP also had a strong near fall when he hit the Mamba Splash on Alexander, only to get pulled out of the ring by Madman Fulton, who was sitting ringside. All right, Edwin Pereira, you keep asking the same rando stuff that makes no sense. You're getting timed out. Every time you come in, you ask about that same person. I already told you, I have no comment because I don't listen to that music. If you're going to spam the chat every time, I'm going to time you out. If you keep doing it, I'm going to ban you. Anyways, where were we? Fulton. Pull TJP out of the... pull TJP out of the ring. At the end of the match, though, TJP and Fulton were both on the outside, and Alexander hit the divine intervention on Ace Austin to win and become the brand new X Division champion. I thought this was the 100% right move to do. Alexander is now a singles guy. You got to get him away from, that's just that guy that used to team with Ethan Page in the North. Oh, okay, whatever. Throw him in another tag team. No, you establish him as a singles guy now, putting the title on him. And I think that's the great thing that they've done. Unfortunately, with Ethan Page, he's just in a very undercard tag team now in AEW with Scorpio Sky. No offense to him or Scorpio Sky, but it's just like he'll show up on Dynamite randomly here and there, never really do anything significant, and then he wrestles on Elevation, the AEW third-tier show. I think Josh Alexander got the better of the split here. D'Lo Brown and Matt Striker run down the rest of the card. They announced that Eric Young is injured, as we talked about in our preview for the show, and will not be competing tonight in the 8-man tag team match. But, he's got a replacement, and that match is next. So they cut to a Violent by Design promo. EY said that he's injured, but still leading this group. EY addresses his replacement, but we can't see them. He says, "You're not ready to actually join the group, but your opportunity is here. Show us you deserve to be with us." Or something along those lines. So this match comes down, and it's Eddie Edwards, Willie Mack, James Storm, and Chris Sabin taking on the team of Joe Doring, Diener, Rhino, and W. Morrissey. Who's W. Morrissey? Well, that's the former Big Cass XL. And for everyone to go, man, W. Morrissey, that's a shitty-ass name. That's his real fucking name, William Morrissey. I would have preferred them to say William Morrissey. I don't like just the W. Morrissey. It's all right. I would have preferred William Morrissey, but I get it. William Morrissey kind of sounds like he's got to be some snobby, rich character. Morrissey kind of sounds like a rich name. William, for sure, sounds like a rich kid name. But regardless, former Big Cass or Cass XL is in Impact. From what I was told, he has not actually signed with Impact. He's on one of those per date appearance deals. Kind of like what, what's his name? Matt Cardona is on, and what Deonna Purrazzo was on when she first came in last year. But he looked great. He's jacked. He said in a recent interview he's in the best shape he's ever been. And with getting himself into the best shape ever, he's also got himself, physically, he's also got himself mentally in the best shape he's ever been in as well. So we'll see how long this lasts. I don't know. Like I said, from what I was told today, he's on a per appearance basis, not actually signed to Impact yet. So the match started off with a couple of pair-ups between both teams, mostly going back and forth since Violent by Design is now basically just full of big guys and Diener. Morrissey paired up with Storm, beat him down for a while. Morrissey ran over him like a freight train at one point. Morrissey successfully cut off Storm from his corner multiple times, allowing Violent by Design to work him over. But not long enough, as he was able to barely get out of their graps and tag in Willie Mack. Willie Mack got the hot tag and took down Diener, who surprisingly recovered, didn't sell any of that, and took down Willie Mack. The match at one point got really chaotic when the babyfaces ran wild, taking down Morrissey and Doring outside with a double dive from Edwards and Sabin. In the ring, the babyface team hit a couple of signature moves on Diener, coming close to the win, but not getting it right yet. But Morrissey then came in and destroyed all of them and got himself a tag before a brawl spilled to the floor. We got a great spot with Sabin superplexing Diener into the floor of men below. Cool looking spot. Back in the ring, Mack took out Doring with a stunner, but Morrissey was the legal man, not Doring. He then blocked Mack's stunner, hit the big boot, hit the East River crossing, and picked up the victory. W. Morrissey picks up the win in the 8-man tag. His debut in Impact, and he wins. And I like it how, because, okay, Willie Mack's a bigger guy. So fucking Matt Stryker, when Morrissey is setting up for the East River crossing, Stryker literally goes, oh my God, is he going to be able to get him up? Is he even going to be able to lift Willie Mack for that move? And he doesn't. He goes, oh, he actually hit it. Like, first off, he's a strong guy, and Willie Mack can help. He can jump and leap and whatever. So it's like, fucking Stryker. Basically just say it. Willie Mack's fat. Can he actually lift him? Like, shit. After the match, though, he kept attacking Willie Mack, Morrissey, that is, until referees calmed him down. I think he's going to remain in this team. It's not like a one-night thing, and Eric Young goes, oh, well, you won, but you don't really fit. Because it was the whole, you got to prove to us that you deserve to be with us. So, I don't know. Again, I don't know how long he's in for Impact or if he's going to eventually sign an actual deal. But as of right now, he is on a per-date basis. Then next up, we had one of the matches that I really didn't get into. It was Brian Myers versus Matt Cardona. And I think, like of course, excuse me. I just didn't get into the match. But then the finish was just, no. Were they trying to make fun of Chris Weidman? Like, damn. But the other thing that really took me out of this match before the match even started is that, A, they're supposed to be hating each other in Impact, yet they're still doing their podcast as buds. And B, they literally were in a 6-man tag team match at a fucking indie show last weekend on the same team. How are you going to have these guys feuding up to your pay-per-view and let them team together on a random indie? Yeah, I get it. No one's probably going to see it or hear about it, or at least not no one, but most people. But some people are. Some people are. But, where were we? Match itself started out with two guys just throwing hands before it spilled to the outside. Myers had control on the outside. And he finally did throw Cardona back into the ring. Cardona kept trying to start a comeback and gain some momentum, but every time he did, Myers would cut him off. It wasn't until Cardona had to rely on going to Myers' newly recovered eye. Remember, he had that damaged eye. To finally get himself some offense. The match would spill to the floor again, where Cardona hit a radio silence on the ramp. Selling the landing, though. It looked like he was selling his lower back here. Myers kept attacking the back as he approached Cardona, throwing him back into the ring. Last couple of minutes here, saw both men hit some big moves, but at the end, Cardona went for a radio silence and got tossed over Myers as he countered the move, and he landed awkwardly on his leg. Like, he landed, and his leg kind of like out from under him and like twisted. And then he just sold it like he was hurt. And he's crying, or not quite crying, but he's like, ah. And so they get a bunch of referees down, and commentary's yelling, we need help. We need EMTs out here. Matt Cardona's really hurt. He may have injured his knee. That could be like an ACL tear or something. And so you've got like 5 people checking on him. And it looks like they're going to pull him out of the ring. And Myers reaches down and helps him up, but then knocks him down. Does his edge clothesline gimmick where he sets in the corner and he, just like Edge when he's setting there for a spear, but then goes for a clothesline. And he picks up the victory. The end of this was not that good. The match as a whole was a good match. I never really got into it because I can't just... to me, I can't get into these guys feuding as like they hate each other. But it's just like... And then the finish where it's like, so he's not hurt. Because I think the average wrestling fan now knows that, okay, you can really make somebody look injured when they're not. But then when you continue the match and the other guy, most of the time, the heel, hits his move the way that Myers did with no regard to Cardona's safety or anything, you go, oh, he's not really hurt. Okay, yeah, whatever. They tried to be cool. They tried to have a cute finish. Give me 1 second, guys. Gotta check something. Oh, never mind. So, I mean, the match was fun. It was a good match. They worked great together as we assumed they would, but it was just like, I don't know why they had to do the injury thing unless they're writing Cardona off because he's not signed and he's done for the time being. From the back, GM Miller interviewed none other than Tony Khan. Tony Khan was there with Jerry Lynn, Tony Schiavone, and Aubrey Edwards. And what happened to this man saying, I'm never going to be an on-screen character. I'm always going to stay backstage and do my job as the president and the booker and the guy in charge of the show, but I don't want to be on TV. I don't want to be a character cutting promos. What was this then? And this ain't the first time. Basically, he starts talking about how Impact's not big time. He runs the show that's big time. He runs a company that's big time. And then out would come Scott D'Amore. Scott D'Amore goes, I appreciate you bringing Aubrey. We already have our own wrestler. Brian here, or referee. Brian here will be officiating the match tonight. And fucking Tony Khan goes, well, we got to make sure everything's called right down the middle. Brian, what's your last name? And Scott D'Amore's just like, yeah, you don't have to answer that. Let's go. I was like, wow. Really? They had to do the Hebner card? He's a Hebner. He wouldn't call it down the middle. Like, so dumb. But it's like, Tony Khan has been on Impact Television 2 times now. He was on the first episode, or maybe it was the second. I think it was the first, but it might have been the second, of Elevation Dark, where he cut that just horrendous promo. Where he's talking like this. Kenny, you're going to face Matt Sydal. Kenny, you're going to face Matt Sydal. Like, odd. Like, I would have been okay. I was okay. Actually, this is the 3rd time he's appeared on Impact, I think. Like, I would have been okay with when he was at the press conference thing. Because he's the guy that runs Impact. So he's got to be at the press conference. And I was even okay with him sitting at ringside. But when you pull Tony Khan in to cut fucking promos, and I know someone's going to come into the chat or come into the comments and go, well, this ain't just the 2nd time or the 3rd time he's been on Impact. He's on Impact every week, plugging Dynamite. I get that, but I meant like on the show in a actual like backstage promo interview segment type of deal. Not just they're goofy, wacky. Hey, I'm Tony Khan, and this week is Impact. Tony Schiavone, tell him what's on the show. I'm not talking about that, but regardless, Tony Khan was on this show cutting promos. And then we move in. But knockouts. I almost said women's, but knockouts tag team title match. Match is good. Again, another match that wasn't great or anything, but it did exactly what it was supposed to do, and everybody did their job. It was fire and flavor. Kiera Hogan. Now, here's my question. Hold up. Can someone let me know? Because both D'Lo and Matt Striker say her name differently. D'Lo says Kiera Hogan, but Matt Striker says Kiera Hogan. Which is it? I thought it was Kiera Hogan. I've always thought Kiera Hogan. But then Striker kept saying Kiera, and I have heard a few people say Kiera Hogan before. So which is it? Is it Kiera Hogan? Or is it Kiera Hogan? Because I get the way Striker's saying it is exactly how it's spelt, but we'll see. But this match was actually pretty good. Again, it was fire and flavor. Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz defending against the team of Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering. People in the chat saying, Matt Striker says it wrong. Someone says, tomato. Very true. But I mean, there is a right way to say her name. Anyways. Yeah, everyone's saying it's the first way. Okay. But anyways. Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering come down, but before they come down, Rachel Ellering's got one last surprise. Jazz came down with them. So Jazz was their, I guess you could say, manager for this match. Early on, the babyface had the control until it seemed to be turning the tides when Hogan and Steelz started getting some of their big offense in and actually holding Jordan Grace off from Ellering. This was a lot of power versus speed. The smaller wrestlers were the faster wrestlers. Bigger wrestlers, of course, the more powerful wrestlers. Where was I? Hogan was successful, like I stated, in keeping Grace on their side of the ring. With Grace isolated, they worked her over, going for constant tags in and out and constant pinfall attempts to tire her down. Hogan hit some hard-looking kicks in the corner. He also hit a sliding kick to the face with Grace laying down in the turnbuckle or on the bottom rope deal. Or was I? Eventually, Grace managed to trick Hogan, though. Trick Hogan and Steelz, that is. Take each other out, and she tagged in Ellering. Ellering got a good hot tag, and she and Grace did some double team moves. There was a scary, weird looking spot, but Steelz was fine from this. Steelz gets thrown over the top rope, and then as she's coming down, like this was very a projected spot. You knew something was going to happen here because for some reason, Rachel Ellering standing on the apron. Now pretend my microphone is the top and middle rope, the middle rope. She's standing on the apron just like this. Looking, waiting for Jordan to throw Tasha over the top rope. As Tasha flies over the top rope, she basically hits Ellering with a cutter on the apron. A lot of people thought that she may have been hurt here, but she was perfectly fine. She got right up after a minute or two. She got right up after she finished selling the spot and finished the match no problem. So not news that she's fine because she looked fine in the match. I saw people posting on their websites, hey, Tasha Steelz is okay. We asked backstage. Of course she's okay. She finished the match looking good. Anyways, they do this spot, and then everyone starts going to the outside. Spills to the outside. Jordan Grace hits a dive where nobody catches her. Kiera Hogan goes to the top rope. She hits a dive where she is caught by Ellering and Grace. Towards the end of the match, it came down to Ellering and Hogan in the ring. The former hitting a suplex version of a sky high to pick up the victory. Yes, new Knockouts Tag Team Champions. Jordan Grace, Rachel Ellering. Joseph Meneses says, botches a pay-per-view full of botches. I wouldn't say that. I would honestly say that this match and the last man standing were really the only notable botches. Just those two matches. Everything else seemed perfectly fine and great. I mean, the only other botch was the table not breaking off of the what's it called? oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Tables, the pile driver through the table spot in this next match we're going to talk about. But I want to say congratulations to Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering for becoming not only the next new Knockouts Tag Team Champions, but in this iteration of the titles, second Tag Team Champions. So going forward, we had another match. Of course, it was last man standing, Trey Miguel versus Sami Callihan. These two guys worked hard, you can tell, but every spot they hit, they telegraphed too much. To the point of when they would hit their spot, I'd be able to tell you exactly what the spot was about to be before they did it. Like, not 100%, but like 99%. Like, I didn't think they were going to try and do a pile driver off the top rope through a table, but I thought maybe it would be like a suplex or something. But regardless, most of the stuff that they did was very telegraphed and easy to predict. But regardless, these two worked really hard, you can tell. And they had a good match. Really fun last man standing match here. This match started out with both guys just going a mile a minute. Callihan, at one point, just throws Miguel over the top rope in a way that you can't take a safe bump, and he just landed right on his side and just literally, he doesn't just take the bump where he goes, boom. It's like he hit like 4 times on that way. Like all his parts of his body hit. He just gets, Callihan just said, I don't care. Rah, throw you over the top rope. Just fucking threw him straight down, stiff landing because he couldn't actually control his body. The match continued on the floor with some back and forth action, but, well, Miguel jumped back in the ring, went for a dive. Callihan moves, and he dove right into the guardrail, and the guardrail flew back about 5 feet. Just crashed and burned. Callihan continued on the attack with some chains and a wrench. At one point, he slammed Miguel into an erect leg of a table, but after that, Miguel kept getting up. He would not stay down. There's a spot we talked about already with the pile driver where they tried to do a pile driver off the top rope through a table, and the table broke-ish, but not the way they wanted. So the table didn't break as far as you going through the table because, like, they hit the table and slid off of it. Then the table, like, flipped over, and the leg of the table broke. Callihan then hit a second pile driver on the steel steps at ringside after setting up a table at ringside. Then Callihan tried to get cute. Thought he was crafty. He takes the steel steps and he puts them on top of Trey Miguel, then sits on the steel steps thinking, well, he can't get out of this. But the steps are butted right up against the ring. And so my first thought was, oh, he's just going to crawl out that big ass opening, back of the steps, and then come out from under the ring. That's what he did. The ref's counting 1, 2, 3. Callahan's like, I could just sit here and win. I got this. This guy ain't getting out of this. He ain't going to flip me off these stairs. And then the ref stops counting. So Callihan stands up and goes, well, why'd you stop counting? And the ref's like, turn around. Sami, behind you, turn around. And there's Trey Miguel. Trey Miguel jumps off the apron, takes down Sami Callihan. And as he takes down Sami Callihan, he basically hits the cutter off the steps, through the table at ringside. They go crashing. Referee's counting 8, 9, right between 8 and 9 or so. Trey finally uses the guardrail to get to his feet. Sami tries to get up, but he slips, I guess, on his own sweat on the table, so he can't get up. Referee counts 10. Boom. Trey Miguel picks up the victory. Trey Miguel defeats Sami Callihan right here, right now. From the back, Gia Miller interviewed Rich Swann prior to his main event match tonight. And the promo was good, but I felt like Swann needed just a little more fire. He just needed a little bit more turned up. Because the promo he cut was good, but it just felt a little too, hey, here's what you're supposed to say tonight. So he was just going through the lines. But it was fine. Swann said that this was not just the biggest match of his career, but the biggest match of Kenny Omega's career, and possibly the biggest match this entire industry has ever seen. Yeah, okay, bud. He said he and Callis don't get along. He said, but he's focused now. He said, tonight, things are going to change. Swan said that this was his house. And he's going to do what he has to do for his family here in Impact Wrestling. And he was not going to let Omega win in his house. Next up, we had a tag title match. Finn Juice against the Good Brothers. And this was the only match that, well, when it came down to the finish, I was legit surprised. I did not think Finn Juice were going to retain. I literally thought we'd get Gallows and Anderson. They got gold. Kenny got all the gold. Nope, that's not what happened. The match started off Finn Juice in control. They got a couple of double team moves on both Anderson and Gallows. But after the referee managed to get some control of the match, Gallows was left alone with Finlay. Cut him off in the corner. Robinson got the tag, and he dodged a move from Anderson. Robinson then had a strong comeback, but couldn't get that near fall on Anderson with the rolling cannonball. Finn Juice landed a couple double team moves on Anderson and took out Gallows as well. But when they set up for the Doomsday device, Gallows pushed Finlay off the top rope to the floor. Good Brothers then hit the Magic Killer, but Finlay made it back just in time to save Juice from getting pinned. With that, Robinson would then use the momentum to roll Gallows up and retain the Impact Tag Team Championships. Oh, this match was really fun, really good. All four guys were great together. And this is the match I was most looking forward to because I loved the match they had the first time. I really enjoyed the first tag title match they had. Then we go into this match, and it was just as good. I really, really enjoyed this match a lot. From the back, Gia Miller interviewed Don Callis. He goes, I'm standing outside the locker room of Kenny Omega. I want to get a word with the AEW World Champion before his big title match tonight. And Don Callis comes out, and I go, oh, hey, look, it's Paul Heyman. No, wait, that's only Don Callis. Don Callis trying his damnedest to be Paul Heyman. He does all the interviews for Omega because he says, Omega's too big of a star. Omega doesn't have time for you right now. And then he does the ring intros as well. He just thinks he's fucking Paul Heyman for Brock and Roman. That's it. But obviously, Callis is out here, said he knows what man's going to win tonight. He said he is the man that put this all together. He said he knows how history's going to go. He goes, I wrote this. And I go, yeah, you did. The booker of the show, you and fucking Scott D'Amore are in charge of this show. Of course he probably wrote it. Meta right there saying, I know this is going to go. I wrote this history. Like, no shit, Sherlock. He said they're ready to make history. Callis congratulated Swan for saying that you got me out of your head. But he still had to wrestle the greatest wrestler in the world. Callis told Swan that he thinks he has a family in this roster. Well, nobody on this roster cares about you, and they're really not going to care about you when you lose your title later on tonight. I thought the latter half of this promo was really good. Beginning of this promo was kind of meh, but then we started talking about how, no one on the roster cares about you. They just want to come after you, but they're not going to be able to come after you once you lose your belt and this and that. I thought that was really, really good. Then we had the Knockouts title match, and I go, these people know what a DQ is. What the fuck? Because at one point, fucking Susan and Kimberly pull Tennille Dashwood off of Deanna for a pin. Then they don't get her fully out of the ring. The ref turns around, looks over the top rope, right down at them, yells at them to stop, and they just pull her out of the ring. But I guess because they didn't punch her or do anything quite physical, not a DQ, they just pulled her off of Deonna Purrazzo. If that's the case, why doesn't every fucking heel in Impact Wrestling have a manager or somebody at their ringside with them in every match to do this? Like, shit, if this ain't a fucking disqualification, every fucking heel should be doing this. But anyways, as usual for Purrazzo, she immediately started focusing on the arm of Dashwood when this match started. He was working towards, of course, that Fujiwara armbar or the Venus de Milo. Dashwood showed that she had the speed to counter all this technical wrestling and instead focused on Purrazzo's head, working towards the spotlight kick. At one point, Dashwood locked in a Muda lock on Purrazzo for a near submission, but Susan and Lee distracted the referee. Caleb with the K tried to get involved, and he was taken out. Purrazzo went for a diving headbutt, but Dashwood moved out of the way. Dashwood then hit the spotlight kick for the big pinfall 1, 2, and then that's where she gets yanked out. We already talked about that. Should have been a fucking DQ. Back in the ring, Dashwood escaped a Fujiwara armbar attempt only to take the Queen's Gambit for the 1, 2, 3. Deonna Purrazzo retains by pinfall. Not submission like normally, by pinfall. So, Deonna Purrazzo still knockouts division champion. I was going to keep saying, I'm just so used to every other wrestling company saying woman's champion. So, like, I get the knockouts in there, but then I feel like I got to say knockouts woman's champion? Woman's? Huh? No, it's knockouts because they're different. I should know this by now. They've had this title since what, 2008? 2007? Something like that. After the match, 3 women, Purrazzo, Kimberly, and Susan, all went on the attack of Dashwood before out would come Taylor Wilde, make her big return that we knew was coming. She was wearing her old red, white, and blue gear. And yeah, came out, heels ran away. Taylor Wilde's back, everybody. I'm kind of excited. I always liked Taylor Wilde. I thought she was always cool. She had that spunky baby face pep about her that I always really just felt was really good, but it wasn't done in like a over the top kind of way, like the spunky pep kind of deal, because she knew how to get aggressive and be mad when she needed to be. So D'Lo Brown and Matt Striker announced some matches or some shows coming up. May 15th on Impact Plus, Under Siege. June 12th on Impact Plus, Against All Odds. And then, this July, because they don't have a date yet, Slammiversary. They run a commercial for Slammiversary, showing all these iconic spots in Nashville, Tennessee, like the Ryman Auditorium, the Bluebird Cafe, and then we get flashes of different wrestlers, like, oh, who? Mojo, Mickey James, and Laurel Van Ness, Chelsea Green. What? They're doing the same thing they did last year? We're going to hype up Slammiversary by telling you that we may get a bunch of former WWE wrestlers on the show. The fuck are they thinking? And they kept the little quick clips of Samoa Joe on pretty long. Like, it wasn't just, like, Mickey James, if you blinked, you would have missed her. Laurel Van Ness, Chelsea Green, you maybe had to blink twice to miss her. Joe, you got to close your eyes for a while to miss him. They made sure to let us know, hey, Samoa Joe's in this commercial. Heck, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? But with that, we move on to our main event. Mauro Ranallo joins commentary and talks about how this is going to be a great history-making night. Rich Swann comes down. He's flanked with, well, actually, no. Omega comes down first, I believe. It doesn't matter. Omega comes down with Don Callis and the Good Brothers. Swann comes down not by himself. Comes out with Eddie Kingston, Rich Swann. Not Rich Swann. He is Rich Swann. Willie Mack. And I think there was another, but I can't remember off the top of my head now because none of them got involved. Nobody actually really got involved, which was a surprise. But regardless, he comes down. And right before they're about to do the introduction, Don Callis goes, hey, take a break. I got this, Junior. And he does, the greatest wrestler from the greatest wrestling city, Winnipeg, Canada, blah, 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 Kenny Omega. And then he gives the mic back, and the referee's like, or the announcer's like, yeah, and the Impact Wrestling Champion, Rich Swann. And Mauro had to get it in. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind, and you don't count out Rich Swann. He always uses that reference. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. But anyways, he always uses that reference. But he said it. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit in the wind. And you don't count out Rich Swann. But the story of this match was how Kenny Omega kept getting the advantage, but Swann was right there, right back on him. The match started off with Omega getting too cocky for his own good as Swann repaid Omega's cockiness with some cheap shots and a slap. Swann had a good amount of offense for some minutes early on, but it all turned around when Omega tossed Swann overhead and onto the floor, into the ropes. Swann tried to rebound, but Omega tossed him upwards, having him land on the apron on the top of his head. It didn't look as bad as they tried to make it sound. It looked like he just did a handstand on the apron, but they were like, look at that, he got spiked on his head. Swan made a quick comeback, which triggered a series of back and forth spots between both men. Omega started going for V triggers, OWA attempts, one winged angel that is, and a couple of big bombs for a near fall. On the other hand, Swan kept chasing, trying to fully recover, mostly opening to kicks from Omega and kicking Omega down as well, and chasing him with a frog splash for a near fall. There was one quite small botch spot, though. Omega was going for a top rope electric chair. It seems like Swan was going to counter and do like a sunset bomb or a poison rana, but kind of fell sideways, and Omega just threw himself down. Just said, I'm falling. After recovering, though, Omega snapped and started landing dragon suplexes, but as Swan countered, he went for a lethal injection. Omega pulled Hebner, who took a cutter instead, and Omega went to grab a chair. Aubrey Edwards jumps into the ring, as she'd been at ringside this whole time. And this is dumb. Aubrey's always got to make herself in big matches part of the match. So Kenny's got this chair, and he's standing there with the chair, waiting for which one to stand up. And instead of telling him not to do it, Aubrey's just standing there like this. Waiting. And waiting. And waiting. Finally, Kenny grabs the chair, and so she grabs it from over his head and goes, you're not going to use it, no, and throws it out of the ring. She gets out of the ring, disposes of the chair, whatever. It was dumb. Usually, like, you would think she's going to be like, Kenny, don't do it. Kenny, don't do it. No, give me the, no. But she just stands there and waits. You really going to do it? I know I got to get involved here. Is he really going to do it? Oh, okay, he did it. He's going to do it. I'll grab the chair from him. Too telegraphed of a spot. I didn't care for that spot at all. The distraction allowed Swan to recover and catch Omega with a cutter and a magistral cradle for a near fall. Swan dodged the V-trigger and hit a Michinoku driver for a near fall. Swan went for a Phoenix splash, but Omega dodged it. Hit a V-trigger, a Croix Wrath, followed up the J-Driller, but Swan kept kicking out over and over and over. Omega landed a series of unprotected V-triggers until Swan just dropped from the last one. Omega hit a third one in front of Edwards and Mac. As Omega went for the kill, Swan woke up for one final last hope spot, going into a Phoenix splash, but Omega moved right out of the way and hit a V-trigger, one winged angel, and picked up the victory. Kenny Omega is now the quote-unquote double champion. Kenny Omega defeats Rich Swann, and then the show goes off the air. But as they're going off the air, you got the Good Brothers in the ring. You got Don Callis in the ring. Kenny's got the belts. They're trying to figure out how he can hold all three belts at once. So he finally just lifts up the AEW belt and the Impact belt. And Don's trying to throw like the TNA belt over the one shoulder. And the camera the production just goes, fuck this. Just cuts it. And the show's over. Don never got his actual good photo. So I'm like, oh, hopefully they get it afterwards once the show goes off the air. Like, put the belt around his fucking waist. But regardless, they wanted that Austin Aries Ultimo Dragon shot with all the belts. But, you know, it's unbalanced because for some reason the fucker didn't bring the AAA belt. This would have looked perfect. He's got the two belts like this in his hands. You got AEW, Impact. Then you put the fucking AAA Mega Belt right here. You put the fucking TNA title right here. There you go. That's how you got to do it. But no. Swan mentioned the AAA Mega Belt in his promo. But why not bring it? Why not bring it? He never reps it. I think he's defended it once in AEW, and I think it was on Dark. But regardless, Kenny Omega is the new Impact Wrestling champion. This week's Dynamite has already been filmed, so I don't know exactly what we're going to get with all this as far as, is Kenny going to come out with the Impact belt? I would be more surprised if he does than doesn't. And not just this week because the show's pre-taped, but honestly, if ever Kenny Omega comes out with that Impact belt, I'll be more shocked if he does than doesn't. I would not be shocked if he doesn't. But with that, that was Impact Wrestling Rebellion. Now I want to hear from you guys. What did you think of tonight's show? Text into 510-906-1341. Check our polls here really fast before we go to the text messages. Remember, the number is right there. Right there. Well, it's gone. So 83% of you on Twitch liked the show, with 17 saying that it was just all right. As far as the YouTube poll, not so giving. 59% of you liked tonight's Impact Rebellion. 28 thought it was just all right, and 13 did not like Rebellion. But with that, now let's check and see if we got any text messages. We got a couple. This person says, do you see Big Cass as a future Impact World Heavyweight Champion? Too soon to tell, especially since he ain't even signed. Person says, a Kenny Omega be champion collector. He's got to get all the titles. I mean, what else is there? New Japan? Maybe? I don't know. Person says, why did Rich Swann have 2 titles? Also, what do you think they do with Kenny now? Well, if you haven't been watching Impact, Rich Swann was the Impact champion. Moose was the TNA World Heavyweight champion. Rich Swann beat Moose to unify the titles, and so that's why he's been carrying around both belts. As far as Kenny goes, he'll go to AEW and do what he does in AEW. I think he's building towards a match with the Hangman Page for the AEW World title at Double or Nothing. Or said, do you think Omega will go to WWE next? What the fuck kind of question is that? Huh? Do you think he'll go to WWE? You fucking... Not to be rude, but that was the dumbest question I've gotten on this text bin in a long time. The person says, probably won't happen, but do you see any possible AEW stars going to Impact tapings or not? I mean, I wouldn't say it probably won't happen. There's a good chance that Kenny's going to be at the tapings this week. Tapings are supposed to go from tomorrow to, I think, Thursday. So we'll see how that goes. Supposed to film 4 or 5 weeks of shows, 4 weeks maybe. And they're going to come back in May and film like 2 months of shows. But we got a couple more text messages coming in on the fly. First says, if you're a wrestling fan like myself, this is worth watching, or is it a hard pass? No, this is a fun show. Or a couple, like I said, the women's tag match was good, but not for everybody, I guess. Because I thought it was just good, not great. Or not even pretty good, just good. The Brian Myers Cardona match, I never got into because I can't see those guys hating each other when they're teaming with each other one week on an indie show and doing their podcast all buddy. So that one I couldn't get into just because the factors of everything, but everything else was really, really good. If you did not watch the show tonight, I'd say watch it. I would give it a solid 8 to 8.5 out of 10. Versus I can see Kenny putting the Impact World Heavyweight Championship on the line at AEW. Maybe, but probably not. Versus is Kenny won the title? Does that mean, what does that mean for Impact next? Does Kenny stay on Impact? I mean, he's got to appear at least every other week. And this person says, last one, I think Kenny versus Moose is a good idea. Maybe. Moose ain't the best in the ring, though. Kenny would have to really carry that match. But with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited. YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Remember to follow us on social media. Facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Remember to follow us on Instagram by searching for Pro Wrestling Unlimited. And follow us on Twitter at PW Unlimited. Remember, if you want to support us here at Pro Wrestling Unlimited, the best way to directly support us is at patreon.com/PW Unlimited. And remember to check out our website, pwunlimited.co. Because, well, sometimes news gets posted there. It doesn't get posted on our YouTube. So just to keep up with everything, you got to follow us everywhere. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your night. I will be back live tomorrow for Monday Night Raw. And I say that like I'm disappointed, because I am a little disappointed. Raw hasn't been good recently, but regardless, we'll be back tomorrow right here live, YouTube and Twitch, for Monday Night Raw. Have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you later.